Welcome, everyone, to Nice and Blunt. My name is Adam Riancho, and today is July 29th, 2024. The time is 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's time for another live stream and draft. Let us begin. Today's a good day. I'm feeling good because the channel officially cracked 3,000 subscribers today. Very happy about that. Very excited. And it's a perfect reason to hop into a Best Ball Mania tournament. And hopefully luck is on my side. We will take a crack at this hell of a tournament. I mean, a ton of spots, 672,672, 15 million in prizes. Each entry is $25. And if you do happen to make it to the playoffs, it's a bit tough to advance, but boy, is it worth it. You got to finish first out of 13 in week 15 to make it to week 16. Then you got to finish 1 out of 16. And if you do advance out of that group, you enter a 539 seat final where you turn $25 into 3,750. If you do make week 17, you get a big return on investment, and it only goes up from there. 5K to the top 400. If you happen to finish top 100, you get 11K, and top 20, 100K. If you finish 7th, you get 200K, 5th, 300K, 3rd, 500K. If you finish 1st, 1.5 million. So, boy, would that be amazing. That's what we're trying to do. But even if we finish, above average, we could win a lot of money. Let's take our shot. But it is a half PPR format. As always, just a breakdown of the rules. Only everything is pretty normal, but interceptions are not that big of a deal. -1. Usually they're -2 on other formats, but fumbles are -2. And overall, it's pretty much the same. But you do start 3 wide receivers in your lineup: 1 QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 tight end, 10 bench spots. It is an 18-team league, and we will hop in just a second. If you want to join me, you can sign up for Underdog, use my code Nice and Blunt, and you'll get your first deposit matched 50%. So if you put in $100, you would get an extra $50 to play with. But I am on a slight delay, about 5-6 seconds. So if you want to join me, if you want to hop in, you can hit the button right now, hop into Best Ball Mania, and I will be joining in 3, 2, 1. Let us begin. But Bobby Digital, nice to see you, man. What's up? If I had known you were on tonight, I wouldn't have done one earlier. I understand completely. I haven't done one in quite some time. These $25 entries, not everyone has the budget to be ripping all 150. And personally, I have only done I think this will be my 5th or 6th Best Ball Mania of the offseason. I've done a lot more of the cheaper drafts myself. But no worries. We can probably draft together at a later date. And I pulled pick 8. I am comfortable with pick 8. We're more likely than not getting a player we've taken a ton on the live lately. Breece Hall is going off the board at pick 8 overall. So if nothing deviates from ADP, that's more likely who I'm going to be taking, and I'm very comfortable with that. I feel like I know the strategy needed when drafting Breece Hall to make that team work. But I feel comfortable with any pick at this point. I've done enough of these drafts where I feel like I know where the good values are, where there are some overpriced guys. At least personally, I've made some stances, and you can find out how I feel in my rankings videos on the channel. I've talked about my top 40 running backs, my top 40 wide receivers, and today I recorded my top 50 wide receivers. I'll be posting that tomorrow at some time, probably in the late evening, early afternoon. And if you don't want to miss out, ring the notification bell, hit that bell down below, and you will be updated every time I post new content, every time I go live. You will find out. You'll be able to draft with us and be one of the first to watch my videos. But everything is Pretty normal. Justin Jefferson does go above Jamar at pick 4, so that's slightly different. But there's an argument that Jefferson is in line for CeeDee Lamb type of production with the looming suspension for Jordan Addison and the injury to TJ Hawkinson. There's just no other weapons, but the quarterback situation definitely not as good as Burrow. I'd still probably be taking Jamar here on underdog above Jay Jettas, but I do have Jefferson ranked at wide receiver 3 personally in my rankings this season. So nothing too crazy, and it's pretty typical. Highly doubt I get Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it is possible if Team 7 goes with Bijan, we could be looking at Amon-Ra, pick 8. But I'm fine with whatever happens. I know for a fact I'm either getting St. Brown or Breece Hall. I prefer Breece over Bijan. Bijan goes, so as much as I like Breece, can't replicate this tier of receiver moving forward. I will be going with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And there are 64 targets available in Detroit with no more Josh Reynolds, so it's possible that St. Brown does get more volume, but at the very least, we take him a couple picks past where he's going, and it does open us up for a slightly unique approach. Maybe we could get Marvin Harrison Jr. falling back around to us. That would be dope if it happened, but even if it doesn't, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs falls. That would be fucking phenomenal. Not too many teams have St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, but more likely than not, that won't happen. We'll see what we get at pick 17. But pick 12 is where you can really mix things up. Sometimes I like to go with Debo and Ayuk at pick 12 because very few teams are going to have both Niners receivers. And if Christian McCaffrey goes down, if George Kittle goes down and both stay healthy, you're in line for like a ton of points, assuming Ayuk stays in San Francisco. I think that's going to happen. I would be shocked if that didn't happen. But we are looking at some interesting options. I could just go with who I have ranked highest in Ayuk, but London has fallen 2 spots. Meanwhile, St. Brown has also fallen 2 spots. So that's overall 4 picks of deviation from the ADP. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to go with Drake London. Don't take London a ton, but I feel a lot better when he's my wide receiver 2, and I have a guy like St. Brown. There is a ton of volume in line for Drake London this season. And I also love Drake London's fantasy schedule in the playoffs. Like week 17, Drake London gets Washington on the road. And if you recall last season, Washington was a terrible defense. Their secondary was atrocious. That was the matchup where DJ Moore put up 50 fantasy points, put up like 250 yards, and I want to say like 2 or 3 touchdowns against the Commanders in that game. So that could be a phenomenal spot. We do not have Bijan, but I don't think it matters. We could open the door for possibly a Kyle Pitts team. Almost never take Kyle Pitts, but at pick 65, I would consider it. But I might go Laporta. If Laporta falls to me at 41, definitely going to take him. I might even take him at 32, but we're going to see what happens. We go St. Brown and Drake London to start this draft. Have him in the same tier as Harrison, Nico Collins, Chris Olave, as well as Debo and Ayuk. Ayuk is still not off the board, but not only does London get the Commanders week 17, he has like really good matchups those final 3 weeks. They get week 15 at Las Vegas. That should be good. I mean, week 14 they also get Minnesota. That's a nice matchup as well. Revenge game for Kirk Cousins. Then week 16 they're versus the Giants. Like after that week 12 bye, things really open up for Atlanta. And I think the Falcons do offer league-winning potential in that offense. So even if Kirk Cousins goes down, still a good quarterback as a backup with Michael Penix. And London should be in line for maybe 140 targets this season. He'll be on the field a ton and is definitely their best weapon. Maybe not weapon. Maybe Bijan's the better weapon. But best receiver, in my view. Team 6, interesting approach with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts. I have done that a few times myself. But I usually get Jalen in the fourth, and I have seen him fall to the late round four. I don't know if they needed to take him at pick 30, but definitely to warrant the double stack. Good to get your guy. We're now on the clock, and we do get sniped at running back. I would have definitely considered Derrick Henry there, but given the circumstances, I think I'm going to set myself up for this Detroit Lions stack. I have every receiver remaining in the same tier. My preference would be Tank Dell, but with two guys I trust, I'm going to deviate a little bit, and I'm going to grab Sam Laporta, a commitment to Detroit, and Ben Johnson. Maybe we even go Jamison Williams later on. We'll see, but for the moment, I have locked up the two best pass catchers in Detroit on this roster. So I like it, and I think I can still get really good value at receiver in the fourth, let alone an elite QB potentially at pick 41. We could go with Josh Allen. That's always possible. We could also go Isaiah Pacheco. I think that's also on the board. But I'm looking at a T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. I do have Tank Dell ranked the highest. And Pacheco goes. So we're looking at either QB or receiver. It's pick 41, but Stephon Diggs has fallen a considerable amount. Maybe I just go Diggs. Tough decision here. And you know what? I am going to do it. Very rarely do I go Diggs, but maybe I'm wrong about him. Maybe he is better than I give him credit for. The price drop in ADP, I think, is worth it. 9 picks past ADP for Stephon Diggs. Let's go. Amon-Ra, Drake London, Sam Laporta, Stephon Diggs. We're going to need to hit running back soon. I don't want to get too behind the 8 ball at running back. But now we have a potential Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and CJ Stroud stack that we've opened up for this roster. And given CJ Stroud sometimes falls to pick 80, there is the potential that happens. But whoever takes Tank Dell going to be in a good shape. Pick 4 has Tank Dell. They probably would snipe us. But Chris around the world, happy to see you, man. You're drafting at 10. Excited to see it, man. Good looking team as well. Love me some Breece Hall, especially at pick 10. I would have taken him if St. Brown was not there. You get Nico Collins. I'm also pretty high on Collins. And you'd have the Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes double stack. You're also poised to grab at least another Chiefs receiver at pick 58 or 63. So, yeah, you're in good shape. I like your roster. And you're definitely in better position at running back than I am. But receiver's a bit thin, my friend. Only Nico through the first 4 rounds is a bit of a gamble. I hope it pays off for you. But there are good values later on. I think you'll be okay. But at the turn, actually after our Diggs selection, we see Josh Allen, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, Tank Dell, Christian Kirk, ETN, Trey McBride, Anthony Richardson, Dalton Kincaid, and Mark Andrews now off the board. So all of the guys I would love in round 5 are now not there. We're probably in line for a running back, either Jacobs or James Cook, most likely. Jacobs goes off, and the next 2 teams don't have a running back. So I may get buried at running back. That is the risk I have taken with this roster. But there was really nobody to grab at a good value. We saw a big run on running back from picks 9 through 16. So I would have had to reach on Devon A-Chain. Wasn't excited. I was probably going to take Derrick Henry if he was there at 32, but he was not. And then even Pacheco got sniped at pick 40. So I was not in a position to take running back at all. Now James Cook off the board. Not great. Not what I want to see. at all, honestly. So, um, kind of scary, but it's really not the end of the world. I can make it still work out. My highest ranked receiver here would be Chris Godwin. Actually, no, it would be Lad McConkey, but I can always get McConkey coming back around. So I think I'm just going to take the value here, and we'll figure out running back later on. I'm going to go with Chris Godwin. I think in round 5, Godwin is a very safe pick. I like his ADP. It's at 59. We take him a few spots higher. But if you told me that Mike Evans got hurt, then Godwin should be drafted 2 rounds higher. And if you told me that just the touchdowns even out between the two, then I think Godwin is a big value in round 5. I think he's one of the safer picks. Moving back into the slot should help him. New offensive coordinator from the McVay offense. Definitely going to lean into the receiver position. I think Godwin is safe. Let's hope for the best. But it also opens up for a Baker Mayfield stack, and I have a lot of options later on for QB stacking. So let's see what happens. But at the moment, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Sam Laporta, Stephon Diggs, and Chris Godwin. In decent shape so far. But I could go Kyle Pitts. Actually, no, I'm not taking Kyle Pitts. That's for sure. I already have Laporta. No fucking chance. I'm grabbing another tight end. I'd probably go Joe Mixon. I do have Walker ranked higher, though. Mixon goes off. Shit. This is not great. Maybe this is a 0 RB build. Maybe that's what we do. Just hammer the receiver values. And wait at that position. But Chris, you do go with Rashee Rice. And if he doesn't get suspended, that will definitely pay off. Another stack with Mahomes. Very interesting. But I'm not going to go Calvin Ridley. That's for sure. I could go Rome. I could go Christian Watson. I could go McConkey. McConkey's my highest ranked. I could also go Stroud. Or Kenneth Walker. But I think I'm just going to commit. I'm going to go with 0 RB. That's what we've set ourselves up for. And McConkey is my highest ranked guy. I actually have him 1 spot above Chris Godwin. So that's who I'm taking. And I may not be happy with my team later on. But with these receivers, I'm definitely going to compete. I'm not the only roster to go 0 running back. Team 5 went 5 straight receivers out the gate, and nobody else has more than like 3 at this point, other than Team 9 and Team 12. Everybody else is capped at 3 receivers, and that's a big reason why there were no good running back values for us through this point. But I do feel good about my receiving core. And on Underdog, that's definitely not a bad approach to take. But I can't forget about running back. I'll probably be grabbing 4 running backs in the next 5 or 6 rounds. More likely than not. But we see Christian Watson go, then Kyle Pitts, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley. And at the moment, Team 4 does not have a quarterback and still did not take CJ Stroud. So we'll see what Team 4 does, but if they pass on Stroud at pick 76, if he even makes it there, I could be in good shape for Stroud at pick 80 because he'd probably only need to pass Team 5 at 77. Teams 6 and 7 also have an elite QB. I'd be kind of shocked if they grabbed Stroud without any stack to pair with him. So this is kind of the moment of truth. These next 3 picks, if Stroud does not get taken, he's probably my bet at pick 80. But I do love me some Brian Thomas. I also think Kamara is a very good value, especially with the news about Kendry Miller's injury. Kamara is going to catch a ton of receptions, so I still think he's a good player to take at running back in round 7, but obviously team 4, as I expected, does go Stroud, and now team 5 takes Kamara. I am a bit screwed at running back, but if this team doesn't take Brian Thomas, I'm just going to take Brian Thomas. I'm just going to go full throttle with wide receivers, but nope, he goes off. So definitely not doing that. And while I could go Kyler Murray, it's probably the best option. I think I am going to get buried at running back if I don't address it. But with Addison suspended, let's go Aaron Jones. Let's take Aaron Jones. He's still really talented, definitely some high upside. And I'm going to be piecing it together at running back. This is a 6 RB build. Let's go with Aaron Jones. High upside. Should see a lot of volume early on in the season with no TJ Hawkinson and an expected suspension for Jordan Addison. Aaron Jones, the second best weapon they have in Minnesota behind Jay Jettis. So I would have taken Kamara for sure, but he just doesn't make it. And while Kyler is tempting, I have so many stacking options later on at QB. Kyler does not correlate. I'm going to pass. But then we see Curtis Samuel. High investment on Curtis Samuel. Followed by Ramondre, Najee Harris, Kyler, Jake Ferguson, DeAndre Swift. And Chris, you do snipe me on James Conner. I would 100% have gone James Conner if you left him on the board. But that's okay. We will be fine. And while I do have Zach Moss ranked the highest, I'm a little bit worried about the recent reports that Chase Brown has been running with the ones a lot in camp. So a little bit scary. And Mike Murray, I agree with your logic here. I think because of the options that are on the board, I'm going to go with Jonathan Brooks. High league winning upside. We are shooting for the ceiling here in this tournament. And especially with the low advance rates in weeks 15, 16, 17, we need that top 15 upside. I'm going to go Jonathan Brooks. And knowing I'm taking 6 running backs with this roster, I'm comfortable gambling on Brooks despite a lot of games missed that I project for him. But let's hope for the best. Maybe he'll be healthier than we expect. But Jonathan, happy to see you, man. What's up? Indeed. We hit 3K today. Very excited. And Chris, it's all right. I completely understand. That's who I would have taken. And you had him queued up. Fault you. There's no fault at all. That was the right pick. James Conner, highly valuable. Averaged 15 plus points per game when healthy last season. 16 plus in the games with Kyler Murray. I think you took the best player. So I didn't think he was coming back. No worries at all. Good pick. Jones is a nice sleeper too. I was a little off of him for a while. I was taking a lot of Ty Chandler, just assuming that Aaron Jones is probably going to get hurt. You're going to get some games out of Ty Chandler, but it's probably not going to be as bad as last year. I mean, I'm hoping it's not now that I have him on my team. And even if it is, like when healthy, Aaron Jones is still really valuable. I'm a little worried about the touchdown production, but with no Addison for a long time, anticipating that in Minnesota, like you're going to get a ton of targets for Aaron Jones. And even if Ty Chandler is involved, like early on in the season, they will be using him a lot. So highly talented, still really proficient. He was amazing last year when healthy. In his last like 4 games, including the playoffs, he was putting up 120 yards per game. Aaron Jones was phenomenal. So still really excited about him. It's just a question of will he get hurt or not? How many games is he going to miss? That's the only major red flag left looming. His age is also kind of a reason to bet he's probably going to miss out on some time. But Jonathan, appreciate you, man. Congrats. That's wild. That was your 25th subscriber. Time does fly. You've been with me since the beginning. I appreciate you, Jonathan. Very happy to see you still with me. But the subscriber league's about to fill. I got a email that I just haven't responded to. I noticed in my inbox today, and it looks like we have our 12th spot locked up in the subscriber league. So we're all set there, and that's going to be a lot of fun this season. Really looking forward to the subscriber league this year. But I would have gone Josh Palmer if available. Palmer is not there on the board, but that's only to set up the Lad McConkey double stack with Justin Herbert. And I already have a best ball team with Herbert, so it's not that critical. I'm not too worried about it. But we are in a tight spot here at running back for sure. Teams after me have a lot of them, but Team 12 only has 2. Nobody lines up with Jordan Love. That's a bit of a bummer. Nobody lines up with Jaden Daniels either. You don't have to stack Jaden, but maybe I just go with like the best receiver value here. But we are getting Jordan Love 7 picks past ADP. I don't like these running backs here. I'm going to take Jordan Love. The ADP discount, we also have a potential Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs selection at the next go-around. But I might regret that considerably. Maybe I should have just reached on my highest ranked guy, Ezekiel Elliott, and just like triple tapped running back. But I am a little bit afraid of getting buried at QB. But that was a bit of a panic selection, honestly. Shaheed or Javonte, Mike? I'm a little bit worried about Javonte. Javonte scares the fuck out of me, honestly. So to take him above ADP, I think these days with recent camp reports is a big gamble. I do not draft Javonte at all. And Shaheed, my wide receiver 6, given the room I already have, I think is a very unnecessary bench investment. I don't think he's a bad pick here. I think he's fine. There's some upside as the number 2 receiver in New Orleans, but to take my 6th receiver when I don't have a quarterback, only have 2 running backs, I think that would have been a very risky proposition. And it doesn't work out for me. With the Jordan Love stack, we see Dobbs and Dontavian go off on this turn. So maybe I should have just taken Jaden Daniels, a player that does not need to be stacked. But fuck. Not great. Not great at all. I need early production with Jonathan Brooks on this roster, and my highest ranked guy is Jerome Ford. I'm just going to take Jerome Ford. Going to stick with my rankings. I'm drafting him 15 picks above ADP, but my running back position is bleak, and I am planning to go with Jared Goff at the next pick, given my Amon-Ra Sam Laporta selection. So I'm going to thank myself later. Just eat my vegetables. Give me some green on this roster. Give me Jerome Ford. I think when you take Jonathan Brooks, drafting a guy like Ford really pairs well because Nick Chubb is not going to be healthy in the beginning of the season. He will start on the PUP list. They have a week 10 bye, and I really just don't expect them to give any volume at all to Chubb in a meaningful fashion for fantasy before that bye week. So Ford is the guy I want in this backfield. And if Nick Chubb does not ever get healthy, if he never returns to what we expected from him previously, what we've seen from him in the past, then Jerome Ford might be the guy all year long. Jerome Ford, I think, is a good value and my favorite running back on the board at the moment. I could definitely argue for Zeke as well, but with Jonathan Brooks, I need early season production. Give me Jerome Ford. I think it's a good pairing. But I kind of really wish I had better running backs. Like, I almost wish I just took Brees Hall at pick 8, and that way I wouldn't have been forced to go running back, round 7, round 8. But again, there weren't great values there. I got sniped on Brian Thomas, and we still have really good wide receivers after all. So the team is pretty solid. It's not bad. I just really hope I do not get sniped. At QB, I am obviously in line for a Jared Goff selection, given my double stack of Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta. So if I happen to get sniped on Jared, I will be upset. But at least I have Jordan Love and plenty of stacking options later. I'm not going to be too mad about it. But this team is definitely hoping for a Jared Goff selection at 128. As much as Jordan Love should be stacked, especially for underdog and best ball, we're committed that in the final weeks we want Goff as our stack. We have the double with Amon-Ra and Laporta. But Love is hypothetically, arguably, one of those pass first QBs that you don't necessarily have to stack just because, while it's definitely a wise option to do so, there's just so many mouths to feed. It could go any which way any given week. Who's the guy you want? You could try to stack him up and definitely pick wrong, have the wrong guy, and it's kind of irrelevant for you either which way. So just because it's so spread out in that offense, it's not the most critical thing to do. But obviously, I'd prefer to have at least one Packers receiver. I was hoping that Wicks fell. It probably saved me from myself and forced me to go running back. For the sake of this build, it probably is not something I'm going to regret. But Trey Benson falling like a rock, and I probably would have taken him if I didn't have Jonathan Brooks. But I already have a rookie with league-winning potential that's not going to play much in the early part of the season. Benson is going to be in that same situation. So even though he falls 16 picks here today, I just don't think I can take him. I definitely need Goff a lot more than Benson. And there's still some fine running backs. We could go Dowdle. We could go Marshawn Lloyd. We could also go Zach Charbonnet. I have Charbonnet ranked the highest of those three. And it looks like we're poised to get one of those guys with our next pick. We'll see what Chris Around the World, Seaward 9, does here at pick 135. Probably going to snipe me on Charbonnet, most likely. That would be my expectation. Nope, goes Josh Downs. I do think Charbonnet has the highest league-winning value, but it's critical for Kenneth Walker to go down. Otherwise, it's not going to be great in this pass-first offense. Marshawn Lloyd also needs a player to go down in terms of Josh Jacobs. So I'm going to go with the guy who I think offers the highest weekly floor in Rico Dowdle. There's an argument I should just take Ty Chandler and lock up the Vikings running back, but I'm going to gamble that Aaron Jones was the right pick, does not miss much time, and who knows, maybe Ty Chandler goes down. Maybe Ty Chandler's not the right guy, so we would have to take him above ADP. There's a chance he falls back to me, 152. Give me Rico Dowdle in a very limited Dallas Cowboys backfield. If Zeke, with his age, does not perform well, Dowdle might be the guy you want straight up. And there is some upside. There will be some touchdowns available in a high-flying, high-scoring Dallas Cowboys offense. Dowdle has the most upside, the most pop of the two, but I think Zeke, with his familiarity in that offense, is probably still the goal line back. So just hoping for the best, but definitely more weekly value in terms of floor with Dowdle over Charbonnet and Lloyd. Given who else we have, I think that's the way to go. But Chris says, I would never. You were not considering running back at all. So that's interesting. You only had 3. I definitely thought that might be in contention. But you do have Brees Hall. It's not that big of a deal. I don't blame you at all. Josh Downs is a perfectly fine pick. And you were a bit thin at receiver. We mentioned that earlier. You started with only Nico Collins through the first 4 rounds. You have Keenan Allen, Rashee Rice, Dobbs, Gabe Davis, and Josh Downs. I get it, but would never snipe you. I mean, you sniped me on James Conner. No worries, man. It's okay. But I think you made a good pick. I think you did. Downs, I think in round 12 is a good value. I think Downs is more valuable than AD Mitchell. Straight up, Mitchell goes 15 picks higher at 120. You got Downs at 135. So kudos to you with that pick. But we have 2 quarterbacks. I think I'm going to skip a third, but Kirk Cousins definitely in line for us if we like feel desperate. I just don't feel that desperate, honestly. I don't think I'm going to do it. Meanwhile, Luke Musgrave does pair up with us and Jordan Love, so I might go Luke Musgrave. And the teams around the turn, 2 of them already have 2 tight ends. Chris, I'm going to hope and pray that you do not snipe me on Luke McCaffrey, on Luke Musgrave, excuse me. And I'm going to hope for the best. But I'm just going to shore up a floor at running back, and I'm going to take Chuba Hubbard. With Jonathan Brooks on this team, I think it's a safe bet. And I think running back might be a bit of a premium around the turn. I think it's less likely that Chuba makes it back than a guy like Luke Musgrave. But I might not get him regardless. These next 2 teams have 2 picks apiece, and neither of them have more than 1 tight end. But C. Ward, you have Kelsey, so you might not even be thinking about tight end. Waldman has Hunter Henry, though. He reached massively on Henry. So we'll see what happens there. But you go J.K. Dobbins. I like that pick, man. I like the gamble on J.K. Dobbins a lot. If he stays healthy, if he can actually produce as the RB1 there, like, holy shit, Dobbins is going to smash. But more likely than not, he gets hurt. But in round 13, it's probably worth the gamble. More so than not. Kimani goes at 156. Cole Kmet goes to team 11, who now has 3 tight ends. And that puts me in jeopardy of missing out on Musgrave. But if Musgrave falls back to me, I'm definitely going with Musgrave. We'll see. My receiver position is very heavy at the top, so it's not critical. Oh, and Musgrave does fall to me. I am ecstatic about this value. Not only do I need a tight end, I need someone to correlate with Jordan Love, and I also get Musgrave at a big value, 14 picks past ADP. I will take it. Definitely a good price on Luke Musgrave here. So that's our team so far. Our receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin, Ladd McConkey, and that's the 5 we're rolling with so far. I also have Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard at running back. Hoping that pays off. I will be taking another running back. But at QB, I have Jordan Love stacked up with Luke Musgrave, and I also have Jared Goff double stacked with St. Brown and Sam Laporta. I'm done at tight end. I'm done at quarterback. I'm taking one more running back. I've got 4 picks left, and I will be taking at least 2 receivers. We'll see what other value I get. Maybe it's a 7 RB build, but it's more likely a 6 RB, 8 receiver build, given I've waited this long to draft my 6th at receiver. But when you do take 5 early wide receivers, like I did, you kind of tell yourself you're kind of just going along with the theory that these guys are so valuable, so good at their position that they're going to carry you for the most part. You kind of don't really need to invest that much heavily further in the position. So I think when you do start off with 5 receivers in the first 6 rounds, you can kind of call it done at 7. That 8th is a bit of a luxury for you, and you're probably not going to get a ton of weekly usage from them no matter what. But I am waiting a long time for my 6th receiver. at this point, it's not like there's a lot of like great options. I might as well probably just take three more receivers. But it's running back, wide receiver the rest of the way. I think I'm done at QB, done at tight end, given who I have. But I like this team. I think I got a little scared for a bit with passing on running back for so long, but I think I've pieced it together somewhat well. We've got both Panthers running backs. We've got Jerome Ford. We've got Aaron Jones, high upside with Aaron Jones. And if Rico Dowdle can overtake Zeke, then he will smash his ADP of 136.9. So I'm excited there. I think there's some really high potential, and I'm hoping for the best. But receiver does kind of scare me the rest of the way. I think I might go Jalen McMillan. He's been thriving at training camp, shines at practice, according to reports 4 days ago. I also have Chris Godwin, so I think it's good to maybe invest again in that position. Team 12 only has 4 receivers, so I think they're going to double tap that spot, and I think Jalen is the most interesting guy left on the board. I'm going to get back to the receiver position. I'm going to take Jalen McMillan. And if Mike Evans does go down, then this Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan combo absolutely going to work out. There will be a lot of 3 receiver sets. And at age 31, maybe this is the year where Mike Evans does get injured. It is possible. I wouldn't bet on it. He's like someone that stays healthy all the time. I feel like Mike Evans has like never missed more than 3 games. 15, 15, 16, 15, 16, 13, 16, 16, 15, 17. Yep, I was right. Mike Evans has never missed more than 3 games in any season in his career. So very unlikely, but there's a first time for everything. He's 31, right? I'm pretty sure that's correct. He turns 31 August 21st, the first. Less than a month from now, Mike Evans will be 31. So definitely possible. But with 3 wide receiver sets, McMillan will get on the field. Chris Godwin should be better than last year. And if Godwin doesn't play well, it's just more likely that McMillan offers us some value. But wow, DJ Chark goes off. I was definitely going to consider DJ Chark in round 17. Don't even get a shot for that to happen. But we'll see what Waldman does. But I don't think I'm going to take Troy Franklin. I'm not a Franklin believer. Not a lot of production in Denver. A lot of mouths to feed, and Franklin fell in the draft for a reason. I'm going to go with Estime. I think it's worth gambling on this Broncos backfield. Cheap prices. It is a little bit more expensive than previous Best Ball Mania teams. The price was definitely cheaper a few weeks ago. But at this stage in the draft, past pick 180, the last 3 rounds, I think ADP values are pretty irrelevant. Just take whoever you want. You kind of just want someone that's more unique, more so than anything. So Estime, a round 18 selection a few weeks ago, allows us to pair him with another round 18 selection, maybe someone that goes undrafted. And it is what it is. It's perfectly fine to take him here at 16. I think it is warranted. He profiles as potentially the goal line back if Javonte does indeed lose his status as the number 1 guy. But no matter what, it's going to be a committee, and Sean Payton uses the running back position like crazy. Last year, Broncos running backs combined for the 6th most points at the running back position in fantasy of any team in the NFL. And while it's definitely a shocking stat, I wouldn't be shocked if it repeats again. So let's hope for the best. Estime's a big guy, big bruiser, and the role he would be most in line to steal away from somebody else would be on the goal line. Estime is not like a breakaway speed guy. He's not a pass catcher, really. So we're just hoping for touchdown production from Audric Estime. Let's hope for the best. But Chris says, first night drafting this season. Looking forward to the season starting up and listening to your weekly videos. I appreciate you, man. Really appreciate it. Surprised it took you this long to get on Underdog, given you have a badge as well. but there's still plenty of time. There's still well over a month to get in on Underdog. I may have drafted like a lot more than I should have already. I've done since before the NFL draft. I've done like over 250 drafts myself. So maybe I will regret that, but odds are I think I'm gonna at least break even this year. That's what I've done most of the time on Underdog in the past. I feel confident and I'm excited for what is to come this year. But happy to see you in the live stream, man. Happy you're drafting with me. What else are we looking at? I do think Tyler Boyd is interesting this late. We do need receiver. We only have 6. But it's receiver and running back. Those are the only 2 considerations the rest of the way. And I could go Tyler Boyd, but like how much volume is there really going to be in Tennessee? I think Slayton's also interesting. Maybe Jalen Hyatt's the guy you want in New York. Maybe Khalif Raymond is someone to stack up with Jared Goff, but I've mentioned his name many times on the channel, and there's a report on Dylan Laube. I'm going to go with Dylan Laube here, grab my 7th running back. Let's hope for the best. And let's just read this while we can. Laube has been making a case to earn some playing time early on this coming season, according to Vic Tafur of The Athletic. With that possibility in mind, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy relayed that the rookie 6th-rounder out of New Hampshire is off to a great start. While head coach Antonio Pierce noted of Laube on Friday, that dude is special. I like him, and he's gritty. He's a gritty running back. One thing, he surprises you with his speed. That said, Tafur acknowledges that at this stage, Laube slots in behind fellow running backs Zamir White, Alexander Madison, and Amir Abdullah. However, if Laube continues to impress this summer, the 5'10", 208-pounder may be able to carve out a role in 3rd down and possibly contribute as a kick returner in 2024. That is what I'm expecting from Laube. A role in the passing game. He caught a ton of receptions the last 2 years in college, and if these reports from the coaching staff continue, I think he will start to get steamed up the board. And we waited so long on running back, I'm comfortable taking a 7th with another rookie on this roster. So hoping for the best. I think he will overtake Madison. I'm not a believer in Madison at all, but Zamir White definitely has seen more touches than Laube, most likely. So it's really just how cheap the investment is to take him. But we're hoping for the best. I need running back production. And with my 7th, we definitely have locked up quite a bit. But we have we only have 6 receivers. I need a 7th. I probably should have just grabbed 2 receivers there, but I didn't. It's fine. We're looking at Boyd. Jonathan wants Rondell Moore, but reports is that Rondell Moore is not doing anything at camp. Mostly repping with the backups. I think Rondell Moore might be a wasted pick this season. Perhaps. But receiver's ugly at this point. We're really just hoping for our top 5 to get it done. There's no one this late that I feel like is really fucking safe. But, you know, Jacob Coing is actually kind of interesting. But, wow, now he's missing camp himself. So maybe not. I'm probably just going to take Tyler Boyd. I know he's going to get reps. I know he's going to get targets. I know he's going to be on the field. Fuck it. Let's go with Tyler Boyd. Let's just take Tyler Boyd. That's who I was considering with the last pick, and he falls back around. It's not sexy, but at the age of 32, maybe DeAndre Hopkins goes down. Maybe Calvin Ridley goes down at some point this season. And knowing this offense pretty well, dating back to the days with Brian Callahan in Cincinnati, I think Boyd knows what he's doing and is going to have a decent floor. I think at this late stage in the draft, he's a fine selection. And that's kind of what we're hoping for. Like, we're just looking for some floor play, wide receiver depth rather than like shooting for the moon with like massive upside. But Chris says I'm typically more of an in-season drafter. Uh, Cutler and I do a lot of 1 versus 1 1K drafts. Born sickos. Good. 1 versus 1. I've never done that before. I've actually never done those 2-person drafts, but that sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun, especially like with your friend. Good way to see who's the sharper drafter for sure. But thanks a lot, man. Nice team. I appreciate it. And you have a nice team as well. Very good at running back with Ramondre, Brees Hall, James Conner. Let me pull up who else you got real quick since you're here with me. Oh, and Cutler is also in this lobby as well. Very interesting. But you were at pick 10. And here is your roster. You have Mahomes, Caleb Williams. A very interesting combo. And I know that Caleb is also stacked up with Keenan. So you're living there. Mahomes double stacked with Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice. That should be interesting. And then at running back, you have 5, but 5 really good, interesting players. Brees Hall is going to carry you. Love that. High floor with Ramondre. High upside with James Conner. If he can stay healthy, that's going to be really good. J.K. Dobbins, potential league winner. Elijah Mitchell, also potential league winner if CMC goes down. And receiver was a little slim early on, but you have a lot of depth. You have 9 total. You have Nico, Keenan, Rashee, Dobbs, Gabe Davis, Downs, Quentin Johnston, Greg Dortch, and Rondale Moore. Some risky options, definitely some risky plays for sure. Like Gabe Davis can give you a bagel many weeks. Same with Quentin Johnston. Dortch and Rondale, not like the safest guys, but definitely some high upside as well. If Rashee pays off, that's going to be phenomenal value. I'm a little low on Keenan myself this year, but not terrible. I'll be honest with you, I would not have made that pick, but you do you, bro. You do you. That's the only pick I think I don't like, honestly. And then Kelce, Kate Otten, good combo. Tight end will be stacked with Kelce, stacked up with Mahomes. You are living. So nice team as well. Nice team there. And that's going to be it for this live stream. We are done for today, but tomorrow we're posting a new video, top 50 receivers. Subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on that, and ring the notification bell for all of my future updates. Look forward to drafting with you in a later video, in a later stream. On Wednesday or Friday, I will be back in a couple days. But that's it for me. Thank you all for watching. My name's Adam Riancho, and I hope you guys have a good week. Bye-bye.